Okay. With that, let's get the show started. Megan, can you read the statement of presiding officer, please?
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, adequate notices of this meeting, specifically the time, date, and public call-in information, were included in the meeting that was electronically sent to the Echo Sentinel and Morris Daily Record and posted on the township website. The agenda and public handouts for this meeting can be viewed online at www.longhillnj.gov. A public comment period will be held in the orders listed on the meeting agenda.
All rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Megan, can you please take the roll?
Committeeman Dorsey?
Here.
Committeeman Ray?
Present.
Committeeman Veleza?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Pasurcia?
Present.
Mayor Lavender?
Here. Okay. Before we get started, we have a number of guests here today that would like to come up and say a few words. But I'll preface that. This is actually Nancy Malule's last committee meeting with us. She's going to take a few days off towards the end of her term, some well-earned days off. She hasn't had a vacation in a long time, but I know some of your folks are here, Nancy, and they wanted to say a few words, so I'll open that up right now.
I could use the support of your hand. Good evening, Mayor and committee members. Just for the record, I am Deb Kuntz. I am the Long Hill Planning and Zoning Coordinator and the Zoning Officer. On behalf of the many Long Hill staff members represented here this evening, Megan, Colette, Marianne, Lori, Christine, Mark, Dawn, Glenn, Mark, Delia, and for those of our staff that are watching from home, and for those that of course want to be here this evening but they could not make it. We would like to take this opportunity to express our thanks and gratitude. Oh, this is going to be hard to get through. Gratitude for Nancy's dedication and service to the Long Hill community. We all share the same sentiment that through our careers working in other municipalities, Nancy's dedication, integrity as an administrator to the residents, community, and staff here in Long Hill is truly unmatched. As saddened as we all are to see Nancy go, we thank the committee for making this moment brighter by appointing Randy Barr to the position of administrator. Randy is a respected member of our staff, and we all thoroughly enjoy working with him, so the transition, thankfully, will be effortless. Nancy, I hope you know how truly grateful we all are to you for your unwavering support, encouragement, empathy, concern for all of our well-being, and overall professionalism that you've showed us. While we are excited for your new opportunity, you will be greatly missed. You have made such a positive impact in our daily lives, and we cannot thank you enough. From all of us to you, we wish you the very best. Thank you.
Nancy, I would just like to say a couple of quick things. Deb had to do that because I couldn't get through it. And, you know, we've had our moment, you know, privately. But I just want to say thank you so much for all that you've done for all of us. And, you know, being a great boss and a leader, you are really going to be missed. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming. Thank you.
And Nancy, on behalf of the committee, I echo everything that they said as well. We're going to miss you. We love you, and good luck.
Thank you.
Yes.
And God bless.
God bless.
Can I save to the end? Can I save them?
Yes, you can.
So I wrote something, but it's going to be harder to say now than I thought. So this is my last meeting, And I just wanted to say thank you to the previous and current governing bodies for the opportunities that I have been given over the past almost 6 years. I know that we've accomplished a great deal, and that I believe that I'm leaving Long Hill in a better place than it was when I came here. I couldn't have done it without the amazing employees that I have been fortunate enough to work with. Thank you to them, and thank you for coming tonight. I have made some lifelong friends along the way. I've had great challenges and experiences here, and I'm going to end with a quote from Winnie the Pooh. I'm lucky to have had something that makes saying goodbye so hard. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, normally I think we'd end a meeting on that, but let's get into the good stuff. All right, ordinance 513-. All right, see you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
everyone.
Ordinance 513-23, first reading and introduction. This is amending section 1610 of the Township Code entitled Lead-Based Paint Hazard Inspections of Rental Properties Constructed Prior to 1978. Jack, do you want to just give us a quick explanation of this?
Yeah, a few weeks ago, we adopted an ordinance setting the fees and setting up this whole lead-based paint hazard inspection process, which is mandated by state law. Since then, we are entering into a contract tonight with Bay Hill Environmental to perform these services, and based on our discussions with them, we had to make some changes to the ordinance so that it was consistent with their contract.
Okay, very good. All right, so this is the first reading. We'll be doing a public hearing on April 12th as we move forward to vote on this, but can I have a motion right now to approve on first reading ordinance 513-23?
So moved.
Second?
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes.
Committeeman Rai?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pasurcia?
Yes.
Mayor Lavender?
Yes. All right, next, consent agenda resolutions, and we have a few notes on this. So first off, for 23-097, there's a date change. Please make a note. It's not April 8th. It will be April 15th. So that's the first thing. Second, on resolution 23-100, Brendan, I believe you're abstaining from that?
Yeah, and also 23-097.
And 23-97, got it, okay. And then we're gonna add a resolution, 23-102, and this is a resolution authorizing the contract with Appraisal Systems, Inc. to assist the assessor with the 2024 annual reassessment. Okay, so with those changes noted, can I have a motion to approve?
I just have a general question. Nancy, you
Yes.
might be able, the in-grade advancements, does that go on the anniversary date or when we actually vote on it?
It goes on the anniversary date of their appointment.
Okay, so even if we vote on it 2 months later, it'll still be retroactive?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Just, you'll see in the agenda, Resolution 23098, which amends so authorizes the execution of a contract with Bay Hill, and that also sets the fees. So one thing we did in the ordinance that you just introduced was we changed it so that the fees are to be set by resolution, but all those fees will be paid over to Bay Hill.
Got it.
Well, we will be collecting them, and then
Right.
we have, yeah.
Correct.
Okay, any other discussions on these? All right, seeing none, can I have a motion to approve resolutions 23-095 through 23-102?
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes.
Committeeman Rai?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pasurcia?
Yes.
Mayor Lavender?
Yes. Okay, moving right along, liaison reports. Matt, we'll start down at your end.
Sure. From the PD, as you mentioned, the fishing derby's April 15th. They switched it down. I had the wrong date, but it's April 15th, Sterling Lake. Everybody is welcome. Everybody always enjoys it. And they have food by the Sterling Hotel, I believe. Any officer is selling autism awareness patches 50% of the proceeds go to the Uncommon Thread, and I was actually there last year when the PBA provided a check to Greg Carr from the Uncommon Thread, and he was very appreciative of it. So please, if you see an officer, gives you another excuse to meet one of our local cops, stop, talk to him or her, and buy an autism patch, and the money goes to a good use at the Uncommon Thread for kids with autism and other disabilities. We had 2 incidents recently. There was a car stolen on Laura Drive. I actually know the person whose car was stolen. It was a rental car, so it wasn't that bad, but they recovered it in Newark, so you know where it's going. And the other thing is, on Saturday, they had 2 smash and grabs up at the lake. One car was locked. They smashed the window and took the purse. The other one was unlocked. They rifled through a diaper bag or something and took a wallet out. So please, obviously, lock your door, but just be alert. Just because we live here doesn't mean bad things can't happen. So please lock your doors, keep the keys inside. I know we talk about this all the time, but it's more of crimes of opportunity. And that's it for the police. For the fire department, they had Al said venison dinner. 232 people attended. Is that a record, Al? No, but the food was excellent, I can tell you that. Yesterday, actually, both the fire companies responded to a call. It was a brush fire. It was behind a structure, right, Brendan?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, so if they didn't get there on time, it could have got real bad real quick. So thank you to the quick response time and for isolating it. No property was damaged aside from the grass or the brush around it. So great job by all who attended. DPW report. They're starting work at Sterling Lake. They're mulching at Cantor, obviously always doing the pothole repairs. They're tree trimming along the roads. Again, if you want mulch or compost deliveries, they'll be available starting in April. But call now and reserve it. You have to move quick, because last year I think they ran out. So give it a call now, reserve it through April, and they'll arrange it. They got the new street sweeper. That's exciting. They'll be out doing the new street sweeping with the new street sweeper. I believe we sold the old one to a neighboring town, or a town in the county. And they have to start clearing out all 1,300 catch basins, so that's going to keep them busy. And just a reminder for all our recycling programs, car and rechargeable batteries, this is all the DPW. Styrofoam, we also do that up at over here at Town Hall. Tire drop-off, so if you have tires you want to get rid of, just need a sticker from Town Hall. Electronics drop-off, food waste and composting, I've been utilizing that. Motor oil, again, bring the used motor oil because they'll use it to heat the garage. Cooking oil, obviously, we take. Fluorescent light bulbs, old flags, we recycle, and the Boy Scouts dispose of them in the proper manner. They also have places to dispose of the old flags at the Sterling Fire and Millington Fire Company. There was an Eagle Scout project to move their red and gold boxes. Building materials, so I'll get to that in a second. Scrap metal. We have yard drop-off, which I'll get to. Now, which reminds me, starting on Saturday, what's it, Al, the 8th? April 8th, the first Saturday? Correct. April 8th, from 8, is it 8 to 1? 8 to 12, the DPW yard. For larger things, you can come down and drop them off, plus the recyclables will all be there. So we'll have some of the guys at the DPW starting April 8th. Is that once a month or every week, every Saturday? Every Saturday. Every Saturday, starting April 8th. If you want to dispose of, I know there's a small fee to dispose of stuff, but come down there, say hi to the guys at the yard, and that opens up in 2 weeks, so thank you.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Guy, any reports?
No, I did want to point out, and you may have seen signs around town, there's an organization called Home for Good Dog Rescue. They've already had their event. It was the same night as the venison dinner. In fact, it was held here at the Long Hill Township Community Center. I didn't know much about that organization, although I pass it all the time. They are a 100% Forster-based dog rescue organization. They've rescued over 10,000 dogs. Many of them are flown up from Georgia. But the point of the story is, besides the unbelievable work they do, there were nearly 400 people there that night. 400. I was stunned, and it was right here in our backyard. So for all you dog lovers out there, if you ever get a chance, right along Valley Road, it's across from the mall. That's what that group does. And over 11 years, they've saved 10,000 dogs who would not still be with us. And these are not just loving little puppies. These are dogs that have had a rough life down in Georgia, chain dogs, as they call them, et cetera, et cetera. And as always, just a big shout out. Thank you to the First Aid Squad. Everybody on this committee sees how many calls that they have been doing. It is unbelievable. It's getting more than it has been. I think they were up to 800 calls last year, nearly 800 calls. So a big shout out to them. And to the Big East, who has 3 teams left in the Sweet 16. Back to you,
Thanks,
Mr. Mayor.
Brendan.
No report from me.
Okay, Vic.
All right, the rec, we got a lot of updates from rec this week. I'm going to do my best to deliver them well here. Let's give it a shot. I need glasses. So, the March 22nd, 2023 rec update is as follows. Youth recreation basketball and travel basketball programs have now concluded. We had several of our travel basketball teams advance into the playoff postseason this year. A special shout out goes to the 5th grade girls team led by Coach Rob Anthony. This past Sunday, they went to the championship game in their bracket against Branchburg. It was a very close and tight game. Unfortunately, in the end, they lost by 4 points. But this team has played a very competitive and heartfelt game. They had a great year. All 10 of our travel teams also had great years, and in our opinion, they all had winning seasons. Our adult open play basketball will continue until May 4th. We are also continuing to collect employment applications for our summer camp and Sterling Lake programs. If you are interested, please visit our website for more information and get those applications in. Tomorrow night, we are hosting a ceramics class for adults at the Millington Schoolhouse, 7 p.m. through 9 p.m. Please join our instructor, Cara Hermes, and designs, hold on, let me try that again. Join instructor Cara Hermes and design a bud vase. There are still spots left. If you are interested, the cost is $30 per person. Our spring egg hunt will run Saturday, April 1st, 10 a.m. sharp at Cantor Park. The egg hunt is free to all Long Hill kiddos, ages 8 and under. There is also a petting zoo, pony rides, light refreshment, and a planned visit from Peter Cottontail. Many of the Long Hill Chamber of Commerce businesses will be at the event with tables set up. The Long Hill Chamber of Commerce will also host an adult egg hunt. Spring activity packets are still available for Long Hill residents 14 and under. Registration on Community Pass is free. Packets can either be downloaded on hard copy or they can be picked up in the recreation office. Instructions are included to join us. We find the evidence in Long Hill Parks and Recreation for Peter Cottontail's trails through the Long Hill starting on March 29th. Check out the flyer for more details. Also, please join us April 14th at the Millington Schoolhouse for photography exhibition and reception, where we will spotlight the works of 3 local photographers, Ed Zindel, Olga Argonova, and Marta Sovis. This is a free event. As the event gets closer, watch the website for a schedule with additional hours at the schoolhouse. It will begin to view, with additional hours at the schoolhouse will be open to view the photographs. On Monday, May 8th, join local artist Danielle Oriema D'Amico for a paper collage art workshop. Everything you need to create your own unique paper collage artwork is included. Registration on Community Pass or register on Community Pass to reserve your spot. Registration fee is $60 for that event. Also, registration for our summer camps opening on 3/15. Preschool ages 3 to 5 years old at All Saints Parish House and grades K through 6 at Millington School. Registration is also on Community Pass. More information is available on our website. And if you are becoming a volunteer, if you're interested in becoming a volunteer youth sports coach, get your Rutgers safety certification with us on Thursday, March 30th. Please register by 3/29 on the Community Pass. Space is strictly limited. Cost is $45, and the class will be held at the Millington Schoolhouse. Happy spring, everyone, and that concludes the rec report for March 22nd, 2023. Thank you.
Thanks, Vic. All right.
That was a mouthful.
That is a mouthful. All right, speaking of a mouthful, I will give an update from Shane Daly, Community Services Program Manager, and a mouthful. It's all about food. So first, thanks to the community for their ongoing support. There's been a great response to appeals for food and supplies. On her most recent drive, they collected cleaning supplies, household cleaning supplies for a spring cleaning kit. And 30 or more kits were donated and distributed to families this past Saturday. We've had a number of very successful food drives initiated in the community over the past few months. The Long Hill Library ran Food for Fines. So in line of fines for overdue items at the library collected non-perishable food in lieu. And so employees and library patrons donated. So many thanks to Mary Grace and Albie for pulling that together. At Town Hall, many thanks to the Town Hall employees who organized a Super Bowl fund drive, which I guess they collected soup, if I got that right.
It was a lot of things. It was all kinds of food.
Okay,
It was just a cute name Christine came up with.
good, all right. And then the Goddard School in Gillette in February, they held a school-wide fund drive. Families, employees collected over 100 pounds of shelf-stable food. And next up, this one is live. Collecting from March 20th to March 31st. It's the Holiday Turkey and Ham Collection Drive. So we're accepting donations of turkeys and hams for our families to be distributed on Saturday, April 1st. You have time to donate. It's an easy drop-off at All Saints Church between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. daily. There's a poster out on the web and a sign. Look for the sign at All Saints. There's a commercial cooler next to the collection barrel. So many thanks to Shane Daly and all her efforts. She has been very busy in community services for us. Any other liaison reports before we move on? None seen. Administrators' reports.
Thank you, Mayor. The Main Avenue project is almost complete. The meter is in for the new lights. We're just waiting for JCP&L to flip the switch to turn them on. The benches were installed today. Some of them face the sidewalk, others face the street. This has actually been a point of contention among a lot of residents. We'd actually had a request, it was a suggestion by the engineer and a request from one of the committee people here that we face the sidewalk. And some people like it, some people don't. It is a mix of which ones face which way. You can decide at some point as a committee if you'd like to have them all face one way or the other. Ideally, we would have them face each other and go perpendicular to the street, but there's not enough room, there's not enough grass. So you can take a look on Main and see what you like, and we could always, move them if it ends up being an issue. The planters are in, and DPW will be placing them downtown and filling them probably later this week. The older benches need some work. They need power washing, sanding, and staining, as well as refinishing the arms and legs. You'll note that the new benches are walnut color, and they have a almost pewter legs and arms, and the new trash cans match. The old ones they're black and they are worn over time, so if someone was interested as a good community service project or scout project, that would be a wonderful thing for them to do. The generator was installed at the old schoolhouse, and we're just waiting for inspections for that to become live. The community bus, just to give a general report, the bus was recently relettered as a community bus rather than just the senior bus, so that we convey to people that it is available to all residents ages 18 and over. Or of course, if you're an adult and have a child with you, you could ride it as well. The bus is now running 3 days a week from 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. This quarter, there were 52 riders in January, 65 in February, and to date, today, there were 52 in March. And to schedule a ride within town, though they do take some scheduled trips out of town, please call 6478000, extension 820, and Shane will try to arrange that. With regard to the PSE&G project, that is on Mountain Avenue over here by, between us and Warren. It's been going on for a long time. According to PSE&G, yesterday was the final tie-in of the new gas line, and tomorrow, the old gas line is supposed to be retired. After that, repaving will be done in late May, early June, after the trench has settled. And the project should have been completed by now, as we've been promised repeatedly, but it was delayed due to adverse weather conditions. And I am pleased to report that the sewer issue that has been recently covered in the newspaper, the sewer issue at the police department will be resolved shortly. Thank you to T. Golden for working so cooperatively with us to resolve the issue. He also is refinishing the cell floor, which was done during the renovations but had some issues. And they are fixing both of those issues at no additional cost to the town. So thank you to T. And that is all I have.
And if I could add something about Mountain Avenue, thank you, and Everton Scott, who I know you speak with quite often, who is the Public Affairs Director for PSC&G. He proactively called me. I think what needs to be understood, when a road gets repaved, or let me rephrase that, when work is done underground, and I think you hit the word right on, the road has to settle. If you were to mill and pave, even if it were warm enough to do so now, they would not do it now. The road has to settle. If it's done too soon, that's why you get roads that buckle.
Right.
So no matter what, and now I take that road at least 6 times, to and from work, at least 3 days a week. While it's not great, it's okay. It'll be fine for the next month and a half.
Yep, I take it every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Okay, great, thanks.
Oh, and actually, one thing, Mr. Mayor, I do apologize. Nancy, I know you said this is your last meeting. Will Randy be at the next meeting?
Yes, he could not be here today because he had a medical
That's
today.
fine. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to push you out the door, but okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take the last 3 days off of that week, and he will be at the meeting of the
That's more than fine, more than fine. I was really, 23-099 on the consent agenda triggered in my mind. I've seen some comments made on social media about what a reassessment actually does. Perhaps you can ask Randy to explain that. Reassessments are done on an annual basis, once every 4 years, I believe, so every 25% of the time you get an in-house.
Well, we reassess every year.
Correct.
But 25% of the town has site visits every year.
That's right. But what the reassessment doesn't do is it doesn't raise the tax levy. People's taxes may go up, they may go down because of whatever reason, work that was done, whether permitted or not. But that's not what drives the tax rate for these properties. And to be fair, I don't think it's a simple thing to understand, and the average person is not going to
Yeah.
focus on it, so maybe Randy can explain that.
Yeah, it's very complicated. Randy's very good at putting things in terms that people will understand, and I'll ask him to put something together for the next meeting.
That would be great. Thank you, Nancy.
Okay. All right, moving forward to discussion items. Anything in here that we want to discuss? I see dog licensing on here. Megan, is there something we're talking about there, or Nancy?
Yeah, I have, there's actually 2 fees that I'd like to talk about. The first is dog licensing. We reviewed, as we do, we review our fees on a regular basis. And Megan and Randy and I sat down to look at our dog license fees. We are currently charging $17.50 for spayed or neutered, and $20.50 for unspayed or unneutered. At that rate, our animal control costs have risen pretty dramatically. But at this rate, we will be running at a deficit of $20,394 by 2024. We are requesting that you raise the rates to the maximum amount that the state allows, which is for spayed or neutered is $21, and for unspayed or unneutered, it is $25 per license. And I do want to note that out of that $21, $1 per permit goes to, per license goes to the State Department of Health, 20 cents goes to the Animal Population Control Program, and then out of the $25, $4 goes to the state, and again, 20 cents to the control program. So it is, as far as the resident goes, it is a $3.50 increase for spayed or neutered, or it is a $4.50 for unspayed or unneutered. For us, it would help keep our animal control fund liquid as we move forward. If you didn't want to do it this year, I mean, we would be okay this year, but starting next year, we would have, we'd have some issues. So I thought you might want to discuss that.
So that $17.50 is going up to $21.50 or $21?
It would go up to $21, and then the $20.50 would go to $25.
Okay, so it goes up $3.50 and $4.50, got it. So I'll just open that up to discussion. Is this something that we want to address now? Maybe with a resolution next time
Can
we
I
get
ask Jack a
together?
question? Is it, what is charged? Is it like the construction office where there's this statutory state?
The state max, as Nancy said. So, but we'd have to, excuse me, we'd have to amend it by ordinance under the state law.
Okay.
No, your question was, like, is our question that we have to use those fees to pay for the animal control? Is that your question?
Well, I mean, that is what we use it for.
That is what we use it for.
So I mean, I don't think that's in
No.
question, right?
But it's not going to be able to pay for itself if,
No, I understand.
yeah.
It has to be.
So we'll start down here. Comment, Brendan? You look like you want to say something.
Oh, no, I mean, I'd be in favour of doing something now. It's not a major increase. I mean, if percentage-wise, yeah, but dollar-wise, no, and it would make the difference to the animal control fund, so I'd be in favour of doing it now.
Vic?
I'm good.
It's fine with me.
So Jack, our dog's only 7 pounds. So can the people with larger
get a
dogs
discount
pay
then.
more?
You get a discount. Deputy mayor discount.
Oh, jeez, you can't say that.
It's a 0% discount.
Town council was joking.
I will-
Let the record show.
I will have an ordinance for the
Introduce
next
that
meeting for introduction.
Okay, very good. All right. We'll stop while we're behind there. All right, special events?
No.
What is that?
So that is another fee that we were reviewing. We do not currently charge fees for special event permits. Megan provided me with a survey. 33 out of 39 Morris County municipalities do charge a fee, and they range from $5 to $155. The average is $44. We are recommending that we institute a fee of $50 per special event permit. We don't do that many that it's going to make a difference, but it does pay for the time. There are several employees who have to review the applications, and, you know, it does take a bit of work. So considering that the overwhelming majority of other towns also charge a special event permit fee, we were requesting that you did as well.
So what constitutes a special event?
I have an example. I believe like that, the lobster truck that parks behind the, I had some communication with them, and I was just wondering if we're gonna do a special event, and let's say they wanna come once a month, is there any way that, rather than bring up once a month at a meeting to approve or not approve that special event permit, can we do more than one date at a time?
on that?
Well, so that's a different issue. I could talk about that in a second, but
Sure.
a typical special event is the Sterling, the street fair.
The venison dinner, the Home for
Right.
Good Dogs
Well-
Rescue.
Okay, I was just about to ask you, are
They-
nonprofits treated differently than?
That's a good question.
Well, we can set that in the ordinance, or the
Yeah,
fee
the-
schedule.
No,
Right.
Nonprofits don't have to pay for the police coverage.
But we can
Okay.
also
Yeah, but some of the
exempt them
events don't
from
need
a
police coverage.
fee.
So, but
as
that's
well,
not
if you
answering
want.
my question. Aside from examples, what constitutes a special event? Is it use of public property? Is it conducting sales in public? Is it having a block party?
Block parties are
It's a
different.
festival, fair, circus, carnival, celebration, parade, gathering, exhibition, or any event which includes the sale of items of tangible personal property, including food and beverages at one or more locations.
Okay, if I may. So it involves the sale of something of value.
Under the current definition, yes.
All right.
Maybe you didn't ask the question clearly when you first expressed it. That's why.
So I got a clear answer.
And if I could just,
Jack
because
speaks gibberish.
because it's relevant to what Committeeman Velez said, he brings up the lobster truck, and that is a separate issue for you to probably talk about, but a few meetings ago, you decided that you did not want to license food trucks. And so the way around it is for a food truck to apply for special event permits. And the lobster truck actually applied for 5 different special events. The pre-St. Patrick's Day event, the Hey,
Kickoff
Welcome
to
to Summer
Summer.
event, the Cinco de Mayo event, the End of Summer event, the Hey, Welcome to Fall event. So you need to make a decision, I guess, as a governing body, if your goal is to keep food trucks out of town, then you probably don't want to give special event permits. If you want to keep special event permits for the kinds of things that we just talked about, then I guess you should make a decision whether you want to do that or not. If you think that, having the lobster truck there 5 times over the next several months is a good thing for the town, then you want to give them a special event permit, even if it's a made-up event, then that's your call too. But you probably want to have
Okay.
that discussion.
All right, so we're going to play a game here. It's called special event or not a special event. Cub Scouts selling popcorn in front of O'Bagel.
No,
Not a special event?
not a special event.
Boy Scouts selling flowers at Valley Mall.
Not a special event.
Lobster truck selling sausages in ShopRite parking lot.
Not a special event.
Why would a lobster truck sell
I was
sausage?
throwing the curveball.
Oh, wait.
That's why it's not a special event.
Little League throwing a carnival.
Yes, special event,
Why?
because it's falls within the definition. It's a carnival is one of the terms used to define special event.
Ah. So a carnival, festival, fair, circus, celebration,
Parade, gathering,
gathering, exhibition, but it says, or any event which includes the sale of items of tangible personal property, including food and beverages.
you probably should say, or any similar event.
So why isn't, like, Girl Scouts selling cookies a special event?
It-
Okay, so if you write a thing, I think you need to exclude those kind of things, so
Right.
it's very clear.
Right.
That's where I'm going.
Well, like
And
two,
with respect to food trucks, I think they can be present at special events, but they can't be the special event.
Yeah, they are the special event.
what about, like, if you had a couple enterprising young kids that want to sell lemonade, would that technically be a special event?
No,
Okay,
Only if they have a dog doing tricks,
there you go, then it's a special event.
because it's a carnival.
Jeez.
All right, that was a fun game.
it wasn't that fun.
So what's the mood of people here? Is this something that we want to address? Brendan?
Was that to have a permit fee?
Yeah, so for instance, here's another one. Millington Firehouse running
Yeah,
the food truck festival, that's a special event.
Yep, that's a special
The
event.
Elks doing an Oktoberfest, that's a special
Yes.
event.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
And I would expect those to be waived for non-profits.
Now,
Well, that's why I asked about a nonprofit.
Now, there are two
venison
levels.
dinner. I mean, do we really want to charge for that?
But, as I say, you don't charge them for police coverage now. But remember, there are two levels too. There's the sponsor permit and the concessionaire permit. So if you've got a booth set up to sell T-shirts, you have to get a concessionaire permit.
I don't think we do those.
Well, that's what the ordinance says.
But wait a minute, at the Main Street Fair, there are 100 booths. Everyone's gonna have to pay $50 if there's something?
Well, that's,
They
under
also
the
have to
ordinance as
pay-
it's currently written, they're supposed to get a concessionaire's license, and there's no fee at the present time.
But I would have thought that the person that runs the thing would pay the $50, not every individual table.
Well, it's up to you all.
The way you're saying it, though, it sounds to me like every table along Main.
That's the way the
Good
ordinance.
point.
That's the way the ordinance currently is. And the ordinance was last amended, it looks like ordinance number 248, which I'm guessing
We
is
don't
back.
charge every one of them now, do we?
So right now, there's no fee for a concessionaire permit?
There's no fee
No.
for any.
So we don't do
But,
anything right now?
so for like a food truck, they have to get a Board of
Yeah.
Health, and they also have
Right.
to get a fire permit as well.
Yep, that's right.
So they're charged those. So a lot of times, like with the Sterling Street Fair, they'll give us a list of everybody that's supposed to be there, and we have to double check and make
Right,
sure
but
that
Jack
those
is
are
saying the person selling those bow ties or plaques or anything like, every one of them
in
in
theory.
theory is supposed to be paying $50.
Not
Well,
yet.
no, you could say concessionaires, the fee's $10 or $25. I mean, a lot of towns do charge separate fees, one for the sponsor and one for the booths, the
Who
concessionaire.
collects that? Because the sponsor of that whole event, no, what I'm saying, the sponsor of the whole event, are you then gonna have to get a list of the 50 or 100 vendors that are there?
To double check and make sure that they all pay, yes.
That's adding work to you, so.
Right.
She
We-
asked for that.
The very,
Well,
I
we're
don't,
gonna-
the very thing we're trying to compensate for, your time, is now gonna go
All
up
right.
exponentially.
Yes, maybe we should take, I mean, if we're gonna amend the ordinance and add fees, maybe we should take out, maybe just require the sponsor to submit a list of concessionaires.
Right. But who's collecting the fee? You
Oh,
are.
here's our.
There he is.
our expert
I
on
was
special
wondering,
events.
I delayed as long as I could, Dennis.
So why don't we do this? Jack, do you want to kind of research this?
Sure.
And sort of organize your thoughts on it, and then
Yep.
we'll come back? Because
Yes.
You know
we
what?
wound up with more questions here than we even intended to
May I
ask.
talk to Mr. Sandow off record?
Yes.
And before the next meeting, I will speak to Mr. Sandow since he's in charge of the street fair.
Okay,
I mean,
very
it
good.
sounds like the definition of Pandora's box, once you go down, or down.
You need a permit for Pandora. All right, lock rating.
No, we're not ready for that one yet.
Okay, so we'll pass on that. All right, any old or new business?
I've got new business. Long Hill Township is hosting an online rain barrel pre-order sale. Pre-order deadline is Sunday, June 11th at 2023 at midnight. Pre-order pickup is Saturday, June 24th, 2023 between 8 a.m. and 12 noon. Pickup location is 1223 Valley Road in Sterling, New Jersey, 07980, which is otherwise known as the DPW yard. For more information on this event, please call 908-647-8000, extension 209, or visit www.longhill.gov. The cost of the rain barrels is $75, and I'm already signed up for one.
Excellent.
All right.
And that was actually announcements, but that's good.
Ah,
So we'll keep
I
going
figured
with
I'd get it in.
announcements. Yeah. Street Fair, April 23rd, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Be there or be square. Next, Long Hill Township Friends of the Library, Shred It Day. Bring your documents to shred. April 22nd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And as Matt mentioned earlier, the PBA Fishing Derby, April 15th, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Any other announcements? All right, so at this point, we'll open the meeting to the public for remarks and statements pertaining to any matter. Please try to limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Well, it was enjoyable. Dennis Sandow, Millington. It was enjoyable watching the blind leading the blind up here discussing special events. If you want a civilian's take on this, I have been pushing the past 4 or 5 clerks for many, many years to tighten up that ordinance so that it defines very well what is a special event. I think a special event is an event that causes a disruption to the normal flow of business in the town. In other words, closing a street. I think that's a special event. I think any other definition of the special event that doesn't involve closing a street or disrupting traffic flow or causing a cleanup mess or whatever is just an exercise in wasting time. I see some special event permits like for camp out in the Boy Scout camping in the Hicks Tract. That doesn't disrupt anything, and to me that isn't a licensable event. If we think in terms of a license to close a street, for example, for a block party, yeah, the street fair obviously is the big one, or a bicycle race that requires lanes to be closed. We don't have bicycle races for the past 6 years, but there are some long-distance bicycle rides through town. It has been my opinion that we should create a tight definition of special event. I don't see that the Boy Scout flower sale at Valley Mall is a special event because it doesn't disrupt any traffic, it doesn't cause any town disruption. It's just there. And are they making money? Yeah. But the door-to-door cookie salesperson is also making money, and you can't license every one of them. Otherwise, the price of cookies would be even more exorbitant than they already are. So I would suggest that you seriously consider it, and I would be glad to participate since I have influence over the largest special event in town. Now, with regard to concessionaires getting individual licenses, I mean, that's carrying it a little bit far. The whole street fair business is very marginal as it is. You start tacking extra fees on, and the event's going to go away. And to the extent that we think the street fair is of value to the town and to its population, we don't want to do things that make it go away. You talk about the $50 worth of extra work that goes into processing. Ho-hum. Megan's time may be worth that, but the police department have to review the application. What does that cost? Maybe 20 bucks. And then they put 4 or 5 cops on the street all day to guard the fair, and they do that for free. So we're talking a matter of scale here. Same with Public Works. I mean, the Public Works has to review the application, and they do that every year. And this will be my 30th special event. And each time Public Works has to go through the drill of rubber stamping the application. But when all is said and done, they're out there on Friday setting up, they're out there on Monday cleaning up, and those costs come out of the budget. What's the purpose of an additional $50? I think if we cut the number of applications that are required down to something that a number that makes sense, it becomes a very small number, and the dollars aren't worth it. And I can certainly make Megan's life easier because I can apply for 10 years at a time, and she only has to process that once. It's foolish of me to have to submit the same damned application year after year.
You have to have a valid COI as well.
So at any rate, that's my 2 cents on the matter of special event permit costs. And if you need the extra 50 bucks, my God, I will collect it for you on the street. I will charge admission to the townsfolk.
So Dennis, you left out, I think, this, you neglected to mention the most important part that we're all waiting for. Every year, you guarantee good weather.
Every year, I guarantee, it's the one day of the year when you can count on good weather, yes. However, I have, this year, after a suggestion, a very poorly informed suggestion by the deputy mayor, that we provide a dunk tank, I am going to assure everyone that we are not going to get involved in water sports, and we are not going to pay for insurance coverage for a dunk tank, period. Absolutely.
And the mayor breathes a sigh of relief.
Because, for one reason, you'd probably charge me extra for a permit for the dunk tank. The reason I came here tonight, is to talk about the street fair. First of all, I'm going to break the tie. The last 2 blocks of Main Avenue, between Morris to Mercer to Valley, are typically reserved for the kids' games, bounce events, climbing, rock climbing, that sort of thing, which means that the parents can hike the whole length of Main Avenue, give their kids $5, let them go crazy, and this year they can find benches to sit on while their kids are going crazy so they can watch the kids. Oops, except half the parents can't watch their kids because they are forced to stare into the front windows of the neighbors' houses because the benches are facing the wrong way. The benches should face the street, and that's my tie-breaking vote. Victor, did you hear me?
That's the tie-breaking vote.
Thank you.
I got it.
And they can watch the parade.
I noticed on the way down tonight, I was a little surprised that Nancy mentioned it in her speech earlier, but I noticed on the way down tonight that about half the benches face away from the street, and that means that they're useless to the parents who want to watch their kids having fun. So I would opt in favor of having them face the street. Thank you. The last item I have having to do with street fair is my offer to the town and more recently to the school board to bring out the troops and get out from behind the plexiglass barriers and meet the public. And we are now 1 month and 1 day away from the street fair, and I am still waiting to hear from some anointed coordinator just who's coming and how many tables you need. Who?
I think Vic.
No, Vic said he was in favor of it. He never said he'd be the coordinator.
He did.
Coordinator?
Well, just to arrange who's going to be there.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'll help.
No, I would like some reliable paid staff coordinator who can bean count all the committees and all the departments and give me a real count. The only thing I know of is that Colette will be there peddling rain barrels for the beautification committee. Other than that, it's too loose, and it's getting very close to the point where I have to nail down the number of slots. So I would like to have an in-house bean counter appointed.
What was your recommendation at the last meeting? Did you want a table for the township committee or for the township? I forget what your...
You can have as many tables as you can get departments to come out. I mean, clearly, the tax assessor should be there to explain to your point earlier tonight, Guy, just what is this reassessment all about? And now the question of how will it affect you is a little bit harder, but hell, he's paid good bucks to know the answer to that question. But the recreation department clearly should be there, except she'd probably be in Scotland by then.
When do you need an answer by, Kevin?
Say again?
When do you need an answer by, Dennis?
Very soon. Probably by next week, we'll be within a month.
Okay.
Sometime by the end of next week, I would like to have a pretty firm count of who's coming. And if that amounts to 4 or 5 or 6 tables, fine, whatever it takes. I've asked the school board, and I think they will probably have 2 tables. I'm guessing, one for the activities and one for the administration and board itself. Because, as I pointed out to them, 80% of the people who come to the street fair don't have any knowledge, interest, or enthusiasm about the education that they are funding. And this is a good opportunity to get the message out, whatever the message is, and get it out in your own words, not Nicole's. So, please, get in touch with me, somebody. Otherwise, I'm going to be here at the next meeting, and I'm going to be banging on tables.
All right,
Thank you.
Dick, we'll coordinate afterwards, okay?
Yeah?
Thank you.
Dennis,
All
thank
right,
you.
Dennis, thank you. Anybody else in the room like to comment, please?
Good evening, all. Tom Grosskopf, Gillette. Point of observation, the microphones are not omnidirectional. You need to point them at yourself to be heard, especially on TV. So just thought I'd share that with you. I happened to watch a couple of meetings during the week, and it was kind of obvious, so I thought I'd share. Speaking of microphones and TV, I do have a question. I understand we're getting a new service that's going to be broadcast. I think, Nancy, you might have said that Verizon's going to be updated. Is Comcast going to be updated? Because it doesn't have HD and it sounds like garbage.
Verizon was already updated.
Okay.
We have an HD channel. I don't remember the number.
137.
There you go. Comcast is not, will not upgrade. Maybe at some point in the future, but they won't upgrade to HD.
So with the most recent upgrade that was done, they told us that they couldn't match it.
Do you mean the upgrades that we do are not related at all to what they do? So they either offer HD or they don't. I mean, it is in one respect. If we had the old system, it wouldn't have mattered if it was HD or not. So the fact that they offer HD, we can take advantage of that. Comcast will not offer HD no matter what kind of system we use.
Okay.
They might at some point in the future, but not now.
Okay. If it
And
helps-
that's just not just us, that's any PEG channel, public education government, they don't offer HD.
Okay. When the signal goes out and it reverts back to LHTV, it blasts and the sound is horrible. So I don't know if any adjustments can be done on the regular broadcast of LHTV. I just thought I'd share that with you. I don't know if you watch it when you're at home. Also, I sent an email regarding the, you might have seen it, you should have seen it, went to the Township Committee box, regarding the tributary to the Passaic River that runs along Milton Avenue, and how over the years it's become full of tree debris. There's also a right-of-way back there. I'm not sure if it's PSE&G or JCP&L, one of the two. There's a right-of-way, and a crew just came through recently, and they said, "Oh, we can't let the logs fall within 40 or 50 feet of the river." And the pictures that I'd shown you can show you how wide the river becomes when it blocks up, and it does with every rainstorm. I could send you new pictures tomorrow. And it takes like 4 or 5 days for the water to go down. But if it rains a couple of days in a row, it's going to flood out people along Milton Avenue and I suppose other parts of the town, their backyards, their basements. And it didn't used to be that way. It's a new issue that started within the last year. I don't know. I was told that Morris County does that. Morris County, the Mosquito Commission called me and said, we're not doing that. So I don't know who does it. I'm asking for help for somebody to point me in the right direction. I'll take up the fight. But whatever needs to be done, I'll do. I don't want to flood out.
Jack, who's responsible?
Your mic.
Mosquito
Sorry, Tom.
Commission used to do it.
I said nothing.
No, I know the Mosquito Commission used to do it, but that's who we would call directly. But if they're out of that business, I don't know, maybe Al knows why they're not doing it,
But
I
who,
don't know.
my question is, who is responsible for,
As Matt said, the mosquito commission always did it. Now Nancy did a pretty thorough study of all those tributaries and determined, you know, they weren't the town's responsibility because they're natural. They're not man-made.
because we had a gentleman that came in
Right.
Yep.
quite often.
Wanted the tree removed.
But unfortunately, the answer is the property owner that it butts it, I believe.
Yeah, and they're all subject to DEP regulations, so, you know, they can't just go in.
It's a complex, it sounds like a simple solution, but it's a complex
It sure is.
question with not a definitive answer, that, we've gone over this before.
Well, if it's the property owner that abuts it, that owner is the township.
I don't think,
Behind my house, it is. And
Tom,
then
can you-
comes a tributary.
Tom, can you take a snapshot on Google Maps or something and annotate it and send a copy to us so we can see exactly where the
Absolutely.
problems are?
Well, if it is our,
We start there. That would be very helpful.
Glad to do so.
Because it may just be a certain blockage in one area of it.
Yeah.
Send some volunteers in to just pull the stuff out.
but to Jack's
If
point,
that-
I don't
if
think
it's
you
legal.
can.
Gotta be careful.
You gotta be careful. But let's go find out what the problem is before we understand whether or not it's illegal.
Yes.
but if it does happen to be our property, is it okay if we take that on? I mean, I think it needs to be addressed.
I wouldn't do anything without talking to the township engineer.
Right.
I think Jack didn't, in that research that we both didn't we find that DEP would only allow hand clearing, that you can't bring machines?
Yes, that's right.
Even though there's debris and vegetation that's grown up from the blockage from the transmission right-of-way,
That's my recollection as well.
So if you define hand clean as going in, pulling stuff out, or taking a chainsaw and cutting trees out of the way, what's wrong with that? Nothing.
That's
So
my
so
take.
it starts to, right now, we're talking in the abstract. We're thinking about some
Clearly.
stream that's blocked somewhere. Let's find out exactly where it's blocked and then decide whether it's doable or not.
I can do that.
Otherwise, we're just guessing. But, you know, go to Google Maps, right? Take a snapshot, throw a couple of annotations down where the problems are, where it begins and ends, and let's take it from there.
I can do that.
This is not hard, right?
One would think not.
One would think not.
One would think not. I know there's another thought I wanted to share with you. I will touch back on the item I spoke about last time, talking about the audit of the administration. And just so you don't think it's about you, Nancy, it's not. I still think it's a good idea, because audits bring out good points and bad points and things we can clean up. Maybe it's an HR issue, maybe it's whatever. And we can take a look at it and know that everything's up to snuff. Not saying it's not. I'm just saying with a new administrator coming in, maybe then would be a good idea. But it would be good to make sure that we have all our ducks in a row and head forward. Move away from the mess of last year and go on to the beauty of next year. Okay?
Thanks, Tom.
I appreciate that. Thank you for your time.
Anybody else have a comment in the room?
Good evening. Charles Arenowitz, Millington. I wanted to follow up with a couple questions from last meeting. I was wondering if we have the estimated property assessment value of the car wash property once it's built that should have been used in your pilot discussions.
Sure. I did some research on that, if you'll allow me to answer you. And it's kind of an involved answer, so, you know, bear with me.
I got the time.
So, in the pilot proposal, there's a schedule for 30 years of service charges that would come to the town. And what you see in there are numbers that stabilize after 3 years. So it's something like, and I'm doing this by memory, so just, you know, forgive me. Something like 230K the first year, 470 the second.
Or 76, I think it was.
And then 493 after that. I want to do this by memory, because I want to show Chuck. I actually do my homework.
Yeah, thank you. I love that.
But then it goes up 3% per year until it gets to that 30th year, and from 29 to 30, it goes up 17%, right?
Right.
Now, when you look at that number, and then you look at, there's other columns that talk about the municipality's share of the payment, and then the share after the county gets its cut, which is 5%.
County gets 5%.
Correct. So let's take a look at year 3, all right? So 490K, let's just use that number before we take the 5% out. That goes straight to the town. Now, there's a carve-out from that, which is property tax on just the land, right? And if we look at the land, that number is small. It's like $35,000. And the town gets 25% of it, roughly, let's say. But if you look at that 490 and you say, what is that? And I'm getting to your question, so.
Good.
If you look at that 490 and you say, what amount of taxes would Long Hill have to collect in order to net that 493, roughly? We would have to charge 1.9 million in tax. Okay, so now hold that thought. 1.9 million is what we would have to collect. Now, if you take a look at that particular property, it's a special use property being an assisted living facility. And so if you were able to wave a magic wand and say, this is built immediately, it's on there, and we're today, 2023, charging tax on it, what would that tax be? It would be the cost of the land plus the cost of the construction, right, which is the total cost of the facility times today's rate of 2.267%. Like, he's fine. 2.267%. So it would come out to like 1.2 million, right? That's in a perfect world. Now, the reality is that there has to be incentives in place for this, and that's, 1.2 versus if we kind of adjust what we would get from that, take 25% of 1.2, we would get 300K to the town, right? Because the schools are gonna get the lion's share, the
2/3.
county's gonna get the share, right? So we're really comparing what the town would net in that year, right? So we win right off the bat on this. Now, those numbers that are in that annual service charge are based on a percentage of gross revenues, right?
Correct.
And those gross revenues are our forecast. And if you take a look at it, and I kind of did the math on this, they talk about vacancy rate in there, but let's talk about occupancy rate. So the first year is 231K because the vacancy rate is 67%. And then the second year, the vacancy rate is 15%. Then the third year, it's 6%. So they run it at 94% occupancy rate. That's the forecast. So as that number shifts, their revenues go up and down. We could make more, we could make less, because we're getting 12% of those revenues. If you look at the break even, compared to the current tax, where we net like 12,000 of the 45 that we get, the break even is like $100,000 of gross revenue, which for a facility like this is like, it's absurd. They're going to do well. And so that's how that thing goes. Now, midway through the contract, midway through the schedule, there starts to be a hedge put in there where, we have this 12% of gross revenues, or we have this some percentage of the statutory tax, and it kind of ramps up like 20% after a few years, 40%, 60%, 80%, then it's 100% at the end. And what that is that's just simply a hedge to protect the town in case something changes with vacancy rates, occupancy rates, 15 years into this. So, I kind of looked at this, Chuck, I put it in a spreadsheet, and I sort of stress tested, and I think it's a really good deal. I know, Brendan, you're pretty good at this stuff. You probably looked at it too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I come up with the same conclusion. It was a good deal.
Yeah, so to get to your point, what would the tax be on that property? Yeah,
Right.
1.2 million if you clicked your fingers like that, but the municipality would only net 300K of that.
So you're saying the estimated assessed value of the property is what?
So the way they do the taxes on a property like that, they take a look at the value of the land and the value of the construction. It's a special case. And that's how they come up with it. And I think that report had $54 million of total
Yeah,
cost in and out.
My line of questioning to get to the bottom line is, and Nancy said the numbers last meeting, that no, it's going to net $20 million over 30 years.
Mhm.
I just want to understand if we assess that property and the school's got X, the county gets X, and we get our Y or whatever it is, that I want to understand what that number is. Is it 30 million? Is it 40 million? Is it 50 million? I assumed that was in your discussion to come up with this pilot and what the arrangement was. That's the only reason I asked that question.
Yeah.
So apparently it was not. Next question, related to the last meeting. Attorney Pigeon, how many financial agreements / pilots have you worked on?
I've been involved in 3 or 4, I'd say, 5.
And those 3 or 4 were in Burnetsville, I assume?
Yes,
And this is the first one in this town?
yes.
Is this comparable to the other 3 or 4 in terms of ratios and based on revenue, or is it based on cost?
I believe so, but in this, I've relied on, the township committee's relied on the auditor, the assessor, and some members of the township committee. You know,
But,
I'm not qualified to say whether it's a good deal from a financial viewpoint.
You don't consider yourself an expert on these financial arrangements?
I do not. That,
Well, let me tell you, I attended a presentation at Warren Township. Their township attorney is an expert. He's done 25 of these deals. He assured the taxpayers they were getting a fair deal. I don't get that comfort here. Last year, next comment, last year, we had several discussions here about when you received the MR report, when you got the draft, and when you got the final report, and we got all these untruths. I'll call it that. Then we've got a settlement here with the Chief Naga, and we've got $250,000 we're going to take care of, and we're going to fund that with his salary and his benefits. Oh, good, that's great. Then I hear, last meeting, we already had that in the budget, that wasn't the case. Then I read the meeting minutes from February 22nd. It says we paid $250,000 to Toscano on behalf of Chief Naga from accumulated absences. Accumulated absences. What does that mean? Sounds like Social Security. We're taking money out of Social Security, robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Nope.
Well, keep shaking your head, Nancy. The problem is here's the question, Mayor. When is the township committee going to stop telling these untruths and come open and honest with the taxpayer? When? It wasn't last year. I thought it was going to be this year. I don't know where these monies came from to pay off this settlement. And it's not fair to us.
Would you like to
Derek,
answer?
can you answer that?
Please.
Accumulated absences is a line in the budget, and what it serves for is when people retire and they have X amount of, it's mostly the police, comp time, vacation time, and they get paid for that. We had enough money in last year's accumulated absences that we knew we would not be using this year, and we were able to use that to pay the $250,000 last year, or this year from last year's budget, from that line item.
So we have no reserve for future officers that,
I didn't say that.
I'm asking the question. I have the floor. I think I stand where robbing Peter to pay Paul. Because,
Absolutely not.
can I finish? You know, you created this ordinance about the committee acts on the public, okay? I'm getting sick and tired of getting interrupted. Now, can I continue?
Can you like kind of adjust your tone when you're talking
Well,
to us?
I'll tell you.
We
I'll
don't
tell
talk
you,
to
Mr.
you
Vick.
like that.
Yes, you do.
No, we don't.
She interrupts
No,
me.
we don't.
She interrupted me 3 times
No, we
tonight.
don't. We're not
Yes,
your
she
punching
does.
bag here, Mr. Orentowitz.
Let me tell you, Vic, welcome to the meeting. You missed the last 4.
I missed the last one.
Not when I was on Zoom. You weren't there. I beg your
I
pardon.
didn't miss the last 4 meetings.
You didn't attend any planning board meetings, and you're starting missing these meetings.
All right.
I missed one meeting, and I'm not no
Look,
longer on the
let's
planning
not
board.
get into this debate.
Let's get back
I
to
don't
the
want to
topic.
be abused.
Okay, but we're going to talk to you the way you talk to us. Is that okay, Chuck?
Don't be nasty, Mr. Vick.
No, we're going to talk to you the way you talk to us. Do you like it?
Come to the meetings. You like it?
I love coming to the meetings.
Well, when you show up.
When I show up.
Let's get back to
Absolutely.
the issue. If we have X amount of time in accumulated vacation, sick time, or whatever, and it's X, and we built that over the years, and so we're not going to pay it this year, it's still due. So if you take money out of there and all the officers retire and say, I want to get all my sick time back, you don't have it. That's robbing Peter to pay Paul. Go ahead.
So Nancy, as I would understand what you said, that was a line item relegated to 1 year, which was a contingency?
It's in the budget every year, and it is the CFO's, estimate of what he thinks, at some point, we will have to pay out. It does not mean that it is a dollar for dollar, hour for hour payout.
It's refreshed
And if-
every year
It is
with new money.
absolutely, and it has more than enough money in it.
And so it could be a bucket, it could be any tag to it. It's just tagged for this particular purpose if needed.
Correct, and if there was some circumstance where every eligible employee retired, eligible or not, if they retired, and there was some bizarre circumstance where we did not have enough money to cover everything, we have money in other funds that we can transfer.
Okay.
So we did not strap anything, and we did not rob Peter to pay Paul.
I would suggest in the future, we do an analysis of what is due to our employees in sick time and overtime and whatever, comp time, vacation time, and create that reserve so we don't have this as a future problem.
All right, thanks. Chuck.
So
You have more?
we haven't finished the fact that we were told the monies were coming from Naga's salary, okay, and the benefits. So where does that stand? I'm getting dry here.
Do you want me to answer?
Yes.
I believe what you're referring to is something Committeeman Dorsey said. I believe what he was referring to was the amount of money and what it was the equivalent to. I'm not going to speak for him. He could speak for himself.
That's accurate.
But I believe that's what he said. He didn't say we took it from there. He said it was the same amount.
I don't believe the taxpayers took it that way, but that's fine. I'm trying to deal with the situation that we ended up with this settlement agreement with the chief of police. Mayor Dorsey indicated that during his study, there was nothing to the allegations. Deputy Mayor Pechera voted against the settlement. And then we hired attorneys to listen to the tapes. Some of you may have listened to the tapes. Some of the employees may have listened to the tapes. Then we paid the attorneys to listen to them, because if I said X, we want to know if, in fact, they said X. So the attorneys wrote a report. You guys, some of you read the report, Okay. And then all of a sudden, we went to a settlement. Why would the township settle for $600,000 plus lawyer fees anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000, plus the township administrator's time, which I have yet to get but requested? So please respond to, I'm having trouble if everything was fine with the tapes and there was nothing but the allegations. Mr. Bashir voted against the settlement. Can you comment somehow, without violating this, quote, confidential agreement, why we even went to settlement?
No, we cannot comment.
Okay. This is going to live on forever in my mind, because when you do those personality studies about being an analytic, that's what I am. And I have a hard time dealing with that based upon all your responses and all the monies it cost us if nothing was wrong. And I put that term, 800,000, irrespective of whatever Jif paid of 350, because we're going to pay it one way or the other in increased rates. On that, it's my understanding that when a police officer retires in this town, he gets a retirement badge. So my question for you, when Chief Naga retired on February 8th, 2023, did he get a retirement badge? If he did, great. If he didn't, why not?
It's a personnel matter.
Getting a retirement badge is a personnel matter?
Yes.
Do we give, Mr. Police Liaison, do we give retirement badges to every officer that retires in this town?
I have no idea.
Could someone answer that question? Do we give retirement badges to police officers when they retire? No one knows. How do I find that out?
You can ask the police department. I don't know the answer, Chuck. Ask the officer. You can ask the officer in charge. I have no idea the answer, and I don't think we do either. We're not there.
Have you ever attended a police retirement when the last call goes out? Have you? Any of you?
My father's.
Okay.
But
No, in this
not-
town, in this
Not
town.
in this town, no.
No. No one's ever attended here. Is that what you're telling me?
I heard silence from 4 other people.
All right, so you never attended, okay.
No, Chuck, I will answer your question.
Great.
English law is consent. So the fact that we were silent means yes, we have.
Say that again. What am I learning here tonight?
I have. Is that clear? I have.
And had they gotten a badge? You didn't know?
I don't know.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to attend the next one, and I'll tell you. Mayor, I sent you an email of what Warren Township was doing to shorten their meetings. One of which was, let's provide all the liaison reports so we, the taxpayer or the residents, can comment. Where does that stand here?
So are you asking, Chuck, do we provide them written?
I sent you the email of what Warren does. What Warren does is they publish all the liaison reports in advance of the meeting, so that when residents read the agenda, they can come there and ask questions on the liaison reports. And that shortened their meeting by, I don't know, half hour, 30 minutes. So my question for you is, have we or are we going to implement those changes so we get better public input?
I think that's something that we have to discuss. It would be a cultural change, the way things have been done here in the past. I don't think it's a bad idea.
I don't either. And I sent that, I think I sent that 2 months ago. Well, thank you for your time. And I don't like getting interrupted, Mr. Velez, just so you know. And I'm very surprised at some of the responses tonight, or lack thereof. And if Chief Naga did not get his badge, as we normally provide, we, as part of the public, will pay for that badge for Chief Naga. And if any of you want to contribute, please see me. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to comment?
Good evening, everyone. Frank Liberato, Heritage Road. I just had a couple quick questions about tax assessment. Not going to get into details about the program, but is our tax assessor, is he full-time or is that a part-time position in town?
Part-time.
And is it through like a third-party firm or is he actually an employee of the town?
He's an employee of the town.
So when they do the 25% assessment every year, does he do that or is it an outside firm that you hire?
Contract with an outside firm,
And what does that generally cost a year to do?
$50,000 a year.
And that basically is like a flat rate for a certain number of 25% of the town?
Correct.
is
They
it?
know how many line items are taxable properties.
Okay. I did see on the executive session, and I know there's certain things you can't talk about, the HR consultant negotiations. Are we pretty close to having something in place?
No, I wouldn't think we're close. We're still trying to figure out exactly what we want, but it was the first thing on our agenda, and, we continue to talk about it. I think the thing that we need to figure out is, what kind of processes do we put in place, and what sort of systems do we put behind it to support those processes? And, it's gonna be some work doing that, so, it's not like a next week kind of thing.
Do you feel it's better or more conducive to our size to use an outside firm for that, or you're thinking about possibly considering hiring somebody part-time to do it, like the tax assessor's position, somebody on a part-time
Yeah,
basis?
potentially, right? Look, it's like a lot of things. When you're changing a culture, it takes time. You have to get used to new systems, new ways of working, right? And, one of the things we have to be mindful of is what is a town our size with an employee base our size, structured the way we are with the different departments, what works and what doesn't? Because you can go down a path and put in a process and a system, and it's just creating more work than what it was intended to, than the problems it was intended to fix, right? You've got the law of unintended consequences. And so, we just need to be smart on how we do it, and, we continue to talk about it.
So I guess you're trying to find a way to marry that all together, so it'll be one final process where one collection point for everything to go into.
Yeah, and I think, one of the things that, and I don't think I'm speaking out of school by saying this, but, talking to experts, right? Talking to people that could analyze what we do here and potentially help us out. So we'll see.
So you would say maybe in the next 6 months you'll have it sorted out, is a safe assumption?
I would hate to be pinned down to 6 months the way things run, but I can tell you that we talk about it every meeting for the next 6 months for sure, and hopefully we make some progress if that's fair.
And then my last item is, in the report that Committeeman Dorsey brought up about, the car break-ins and locking your keys and not leaving them in the car. I know some of the neighboring towns have installed license plate readers coming in and out of town to capture license plates, especially if it's stolen vehicles, that type of stuff. Is that something that you guys are, thinking about doing, what some of the other towns are doing? Just because there's been an uptick in stolen cars and we're so close to Route 78, it's an easy access for,
Well,
people
yeah,
to get on and get off.
that's an interesting question, because I think that's more of a PD process and initiative thing. I thought we had license plate
They have
readers.
them on the
man.
cars.
They
And
have them
I
on the
know-
cars.
I know they have them at the entrances and exits to 78 where the stolen cars are going in and out of, so they all communicate.
Yeah.
We just applied for a grant.
We did just apply for a grant for one. Okay, so we applied for a grant.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the room? Megan, anybody online?
If there's anybody on Zoom that would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand now. I don't see anyone, Mayor.
Okay, very good.
Oh, I apologize. Dennis Sandow is up, and he just put his hand down.
Okay, all right, so at this time, I'm going to close public comment, and in a second, I'm going to ask for a motion for us to return to executive, but yeah, I did want to just say something before we break. So our next meeting, Nancy, is the 12th, right?
April 12th.
April 12th. You're not going to be here, so thank you for everything you do, everything you did. But, you know, during this month, the next few weeks, you know, we're entering this period of great religious holidays for the three major Abrahamic religions. Tonight is the start of Ramadan, and that goes through Thursday, April 20th. Passover starts Wednesday, April 5th. It goes through Thursday, April 13th, and then we have Good Friday on April 7th, and Sunday, April 9th. So that's a lot of religious importance over the next few weeks for those who observe. And speaking on behalf of probably all of us who are people of faith, I mean, this is a time of fasting. It's a time of reflection. It's a time of prayer. And it's a time of, you know, getting our hearts straight. And I hope that all of us here on the committee, everyone out there, everyone on Zoom, you know, let's use these next few weeks, regardless of our religion, and you know, spend some time in reflection, getting our hearts straight. And what I'd say is, you know, to our Muslim brothers, to our Jewish brothers and sisters, our Muslim sisters, and our Christian brethren, peace and prosperity, joy, strength, blessings to everybody, and above all, hope. So with that, can I have a motion to go to executive?
So,
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.